morning, MPC, at sa ating mga bisita. Welcome sa ating weekly economic press briefing hosted by the Economic Development Cluster kasama po ang PCOO. Sa mga susunod na taon, inaasahang makakamit na natin ang upper middle income country status. Mula po ito sa kasalukuyang lower middle income country status. Ito ay sa tulong ng mga kasalukuyang reforma at programa ng pamahalaan alinsunod sa 0-10-point socio-economic agenda ng Duterte administration. Kasama sa mga reformang ito ang Comprehensive Tax Reform Package o program na siyang makakatulong para maging patas, simple at epektibo ang pagbubuwis at siyang makapagbibigay ng nararapat na investments sa human capital, infrastructure at social protection na siyang makakatulong para po sa mahihirap at vulnerable na sektor ng ating lipunan. Kaakibat ng ambisyon natin 2040 ang hakbang ng pamahalaan na maibaba ang poverty incidence sa bansa mula 23.3% noong 2015 hanggang sa 14% na lamang pagdating sa 2022. Tinatayang aabot sa 1 milyong Pilipino po ang may ahahon sa kahirapan kada taon hanggang 2022 at inaasahang maiibsan ang extreme poverty sa bansa pagdating ng taong 2040. Ngayong umaga po makakasama natin ang National Economic Development Authority sa pangunguna ni Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia, kasama si Director Mary Ann Daraway, kasama rin natin si Assistant Secretary Rosalinda Bautista ng Philippine Statistics Authority, upang ibahagi ang ilang update po mula po sa official poverty statistics ng bansa para sa taong 2018. Secretary?
Yeah. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Alam na ng publiko by now that ang balita na bumaba ang poverty incidence natin significantly from 23.3% in 2015 to 16.6% in 2018. Alam niyo yung data na yon ay galing sa Family Income and Expenditure Survey, which is conducted by PSA every 3 years. So the last one was in 2015 and the most recent one was in 2018. So yun ang reckoning natin, yung every 3 years we have this report on poverty as well as other information about family incomes and expenditures. So I suppose that everybody is heartened by the news about the sharp reduction in poverty incidence by 6.7 percentage points, which translates to 2.3 percentage point every year reduction. So it's now 16.6%. So if we project into the future, assuming that it will continue to decrease by about 2.23 percentage point every year, then we should easily reach yung objective natin by the end of this president's administration, poverty incidence will go down to 14%. So actually, we are only about 1.6 percentage point to the 14% poverty reduction, 40% poverty rate by 2022 mid-year. So parang it's a walk in the park na maabot natin yung 14% by 2022. By next year maabot na yun eh. Mag-exceed na tayo ng we will have a poverty incidence even lower than 14% by next year if we go by the rate of decline in poverty incidence. So yun ang magandang balita at saka hindi lang yon. So ang implication dyan ng poverty incidence reduction is 5.9 million Filipinos have been lifted out of poverty. Our target was only 6 million Filipinos will be lifted out of poverty between from the start of this president's administration to 2022. Pero naabot na yon in 2 years time kasi 2016 nag-umpisa ang administration na ito. So by 2018 naabot na yung reduction ng poverty incident. Yung 6 million. 6 million lifted out of poverty over this current administration's term. So, yun ang mga magandang balita. We're really exceeding targets now. And there are other indicators of poverty like there are other indicators of poverty like subsistence incidents, mayroong mga subsistence incidents, no? Which also declined sharply. And then there's also a measure of poverty severity and poverty gap, meaning what is needed for those below the poverty line to go above the poverty line. All this data are available in the website of PSA. So pero ang headline news is really like a headline inflation rate. We also have headline poverty incidence rate news, and that is the poverty incidence for the population. If we go by families, the poverty incidence has also gone down from. Do you have the numbers right away? Something like 17 yata, 17% there. Family poverty incidence, 17% to 12%, something like that. So bumaba rin ang If you go, kasi there are two ways of looking at poverty situation. You either look at it for population as a whole or by families. So ang poverty incidence reduction for families from 17.9 to 12.1 na lang. So talagang all indicators are pointing to or are confirming the reduction in headline poverty incidence. So, shall we now? Let me also cite that in terms of what factors explain the bringing down of poverty incidence sharply. Well, we have also employment numbers that show that our unemployment rate has gone down from double digits in the past. In previous administration, double digits. It had gone down to 5.1% in 2018. As of 2019, it has gone down further to 4.5% unemployment rate. In terms of underemployment rate, it used to be in the 20s in previous administrations. Now it is down to 13.1% last year. This year it has gone down further to 13% flat underemployment rate. So meaning that more jobs are created. I think in between 2018 and 2019, the net employment increase, the net employment, the net job addition was 1.8 million. 1.8 million additional jobs were created. So yearly, I think it's on the order of 1.4 million.
Because we have a employment rate na
Yeah.
95.
So that is one major factor that brought down poverty incidence. The people are having more jobs, so they have incomes. And then also we have policy reforms. We have institutionalized the CCT, conditional cash transfer, and many families have benefited from that program. in the sense that families are given 500 pesos for the family, and then for school children, 300 pesos a month there. 300 pesos a month is given allowance to children who go to school and also who are brought to health centers for regular checkups and whatever medication they may need to stay healthy. And also we have this unconditional cash transfers that were meant to alleviate the increases in gasoline, in fuel prices due to the train law, and also Pantawid Pasada for public transport drivers, public jeepney drivers, as well as other income transfers have been made possible. In addition, I would also cite that we have intensified our family planning program. This is a program that has been neglected by the previous administrations, but now it is going full steam. We are providing access to family planning services to women or couples who desire to have fewer children than what they're having, and that enough children that they can provide for and that they want. Because surveys have shown that especially poor women are having, say, 5, 6 children, but they really only want 3 children. So with family planning services, the wanted number of children is being made possible now for couples and for women, especially those coming from the poor sector. This is also an important instrument in bringing down poverty. So thank you. And so we are now open for questions. Unless my colleagues
Yes.
here would
With
like
your
to add
permission,
something.
Secretary, may message po ang PSA.
PSA, yeah.
If we look at the poverty incidence across Asian countries, we see that we are already just higher than the lowest, of course, is Malaysia, 0.4, and then next to that is Thailand, 8.6, and then Vietnam, 9.8, and then 10.6 ang Indonesia. Tayo po ay 16.6 ang ating national poverty line. So we are much better off than Cambodia, Lao PDR, and Myanmar. And this is 2018 for us. Whereas for the other countries, they are at 2017, 2016. So hindi pa rin po natin. So yun po yung from PSA.
No, and I'd like to add to that particular point that in the case of Indonesia and Thailand, they didn't only have the kinds of programs we have, policy reforms that we have already undertaken, but they also had sustained family planning programs since the 1970s, which we did not. Although we started sooner than Thailand and Malaysia in terms of the family planning program. In 1969 we started, Thailand followed in 1970, but we did not sustain it. It was stopped because of the demands of conservative groups by the late 70s. So since the late 70s until the present, the administration, except for the administration of President Ramos, which was short-lived, we have not really had an honest-to-goodness family planning program. So that explains why the poverty incidence in the other countries like Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia is much lower than it is in the Philippines. Okay. And also, by the way, we also should note that the reduction in poverty incidence is spread across the regions, countries' regions. All regions experience reductions in poverty incidence. The biggest reduction was experienced by Region 7, but the only region that did not that had an increase in poverty incidence instead of a decrease is the ARM or the BARM now. And that is because this region has really been problematic in terms of governance and, the way it is run. So, but we expect the governance of the BARM to improve with the with the autonomous law for Muslim Mindanao already in effect. Okay.
Director Daraway?
Just to add in summary, we can see, of course, that from this decrease, we have seen that our PDP has really resulted in good results, in positive results. Thus, we are saying now, we're underscoring that we should sustain what we have already started with the PDP, and with the medium-term or mid-term update of the PDP, we're going to realign some of the strategies already to move forward. Some of these would include the expanded economic opportunities for improving the country's competitiveness, the acceleration of efforts to improve regional connectivity, and expand the access to quality basic education, and then our main social problems now, which is reduced stunting, to reduce child dependency ratios, to reduce teenage pregnancy, and mobilize savings among the poor, and then intensify peace-building efforts and continue on our tax reforms. So with this, hopefully, we will definitely go over our target of 14% even next year, as mentioned by the Secretary. Thank you.
Okay, one additional thing is inequality. Inequality has also improved in the sense that lower income families are getting higher income increases than upper income families. So if you look, for example, at the 30% poorest families, those in the first decile, the poorest decile, have experienced the highest increase in incomes of about 35% or 33%. And then in the second decile, the next poorest decile, the increase in family incomes were not as high as those in the poorest decile, and the third decile is also even lower than the second decile's increase in income. So we are the inequality, our problem of inequality across households and across regions has also been addressed by the policies contained in the Philippine Development Plan 2017-2022. So maybe we can now open the floor for
Thank you, Secretary.
questions.
Questions, MPC? Alvin Baltasar, Radyo Pilipinas.
Secretary, good morning po. Sec. Ayan, sir.
Good morning.
Sec, nabanggit niyo yung tungkol sa family planning. Gaano ka-crucial yung pagpapatupad ng family planning ng gobyerno ngayon?
Well, as I've said, I was comparing the cases of the Philippines, which did not sustain the family planning program since the late 70s, whereas Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia just continued on with their family planning program without disruption. And there's a big difference in terms of poverty incidence. We're talking about 16.6% in the Philippines, 8.3% in Thailand, 10% or 11% in Indonesia, and for 1%, less than 1% poverty incidence in Malaysia. So that is the kind of difference that our continuation of our family planning program started in 1969 has been a costly failure on our part. Okay?
Secretary, siguro doon lang sa monthly income, kung meron kayong statistics. Ano ba yung
Ano?
sa monthly income, sir?
A monthly income.
Sa average monthly income ng isang may trabaho na may pamilya, ano ba yung ideal amount na ma-take home niya para sa pamilya niya?
Well, the ideal amount is something that will make him happy, make the family happy. So if that is the ideal amount, that is the desired amount, the desideratum for the family, is what would make the family happy. But then, in terms of basic needs, really basic needs, basic food and non-food needs, it's the estimate is about 11,000, 10,700 pesos in terms of basic needs, which is an international way of looking at what are or what is the basic income required for daily subsistence. It's 10, in the Philippines. It's 10,700. It used to be 9, no? It used to be less than 10,000, but it has increased to 10. It used to be 9,400. It's now 10,700.
Para sa ilang miyembro ng pamilya yun, Sec? Para sa ilang miyembro ng
Yeah,
family?
the typical family size for that is family of five. So essentially 2 parents and 3 children. Yeah.
Okay. Ariane, GMA Online? ABS-CBN.
Hi, Sec. Hi, Sec. Arian po from ABS-CBN News Online. Sir, yung 10,727 po, sir, di ba for basic, minimum po yun for basic food and non-food items. Sir, pwede lang po ba malaman ano po yung mga food and non-food items na finactor in nyo po dun po sa amount na yon for a family of 5?
Well, essentially protein requirements.
Like
Wherever
ano sa
that sa food, protein requirements. There's something like 2,100 calories, no?
Yes.
Calories a day
Sir,
ang kailangan.
Sir, pwede po kaya tayong mas maging specific like bigas po ba? Para po mas maunawaan po ng mga tao.
It's a
Like,
food bundle. Bigas is one item. Another one would be...
Ito yung example.
Oh, sige ka na, Rose.
Para sa specific, meron kasing create na food bundle. And the food bundle, may national and then may regional food bundle. So for example, the national food bundle, for breakfast, it would include scrambled egg, coffee with milk, and then boiled rice or rice corn mix. Itong boiled rice or rice corn mix can vary from region to region, depende which is available na least cost. For lunch, we have boiled mongo with malunggay and dried dilis, banana, and then boiled rice again or corn mix. And then for dinner, fried fish or boiled pork, vegetable dish, and then boiled rice and corn mix. And then there's also snack of bread or boiled food crop. This particular menu bundle will meet energy requirements at 100% as well as protein, calcium, iron at 80%, gano'n. Meron siyang minimum dapat ma-meet na requirement and lowest cost possible and available in the area.
ma'am, ano naman po yung non-food items na kasama po sa budget po na yon? Yung almost 11,000 po.
The non-food items would include clothing and footwear, fuel, light and water, housing maintenance and other minor repairs, rental of occupied housing or dwelling units, medical care, education, transport, non-durable, and household operations and personal care. Recreation, tobacco, and alcohol are excluded.
And then, ma'am,
Hindi po kasama sa budget.
Opo. Ma'am, last na lang po. Yung division po nun, how much po is allotted for the food and then how much po is allotted for the non-food items?
So yung sa food, meron po kaming tinatawag na monthly food threshold lang. Yun po talaga yung na-define, 7,528 for a family of 5 monthly. So out of the 10,727. So yung difference, yun yung allotted para sa non-food.
Okay, thank you po. And then, Sec, do you think this is a reasonable amount po for the minimum needs of a family of 5 in our country, considering yung current prices of goods po, prevailing prices in the market?
Well, that is known as basic needs. So basic needs are basic needs. No frills, no fancy items there, but it's basic needs by definition. So palagay ko, I am sure many families are subsisting with that kind of budget. Those below the poverty line, yeah. Especially the really poor. So ganon ang ano talaga. Yeah.
Okay. Joseph Moro?
Secretary, good morning.
Yes.
When you say there's 5.9 million Filipinos that have been lifted out of poverty, if we operationalize that data, what can they do now which they are not able to do before?
Well, before they were subjected to the basic needs thing that we were talking about. Now we are probably over that. So instead of a 10,700 budget requirement for a family of 5, maybe they are now over that. Maybe they are now 15 or 20,000. Yeah.
So sir, yun pong 10,700 na monthly, kung kumikita ka nun, anong description natin sa kanya? Is he poor or is he not poor?
If you ten,
Yun pong family that is earning 10,700 pesos a month. Ano pong description natin sa kanila? Are
that's
they
the
poor?
food threshold. That is the poverty threshold. Poverty
Okay.
threshold. If you are below that, then you are poor.
Okay.
If you are above that, you are non-poor.
All right. So sir, safe to say that there are more, parang mas maraming, yung 5.9, mas malaki na yung kinikita nila than the 10,700.
I would
Based on-
suppose so.
Okay.
Well, their lives have improved.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a 2018 data. It could be higher.
Hmm?
2018 data yon, sir, no?
Yes.
And then this year could be higher. I mean, the
Oh,
5.9. Yeah.
that's right.
All right, thank you.
Question? Jillian?
Good morning, sir. Sir, you mentioned also a while ago that you were positive that although by the end of the administration, the poverty incidence could decrease to 14%. But you also mentioned that you're positive it will be lower by 14% next year. So because of the like what you mentioned earlier, and you said you were positive it will go down to 14%. What are ways that what are other things that we should do to be able to meet this goal?
Well, the things that we mentioned, that if you are able to find a job, a good paying job, that would help. And then if you get the income transfers from government subsidies, then that would also help. And then, as I've said, if you have many children, if you have more than 3 children, you have 5 children, then you try to contain yourself by practicing family planning. Then that would help you in improving your situation.
Sir, you also mentioned that one of the reasons why the poverty incidence lowered from the period of 2015 to 2018
Yes.
was also tax reforms. Could you elaborate on that? Because that's one of the
Okay.
things also that a lot of Filipinos
That's true.
complain about.
Yeah, well, you know that those families earning 250,000 pesos or less per annum or yearly, they are exempt from paying taxes. So, in fact, that's a huge uplift for Filipino families. If you're earning 250,000 or less, then walang tax, you're exempted from taxes. So your take-home pay, your purchasing power is much higher than what used to be the case. Because I think in the past, only those earning 30,000 or less were exempt from taxes. Now this threshold has gone up several fold to 250,000 pesos per annum.
One last, sir. You think with the proposed tax measures that are currently being discussed in the Congress, will it affect the future poverty incidents or no?
Well, the CITIRA thing, the corporate income tax, and then the rationalization of fiscal incentives, they are meant to increase the tax take. Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. For the corporate income tax, it's going to be reduced, but then we have to have compensating other measures like the rationalization of fiscal incentives, so that at the worst, parang walang net negative effect in terms of the tax revenue of the government for administration, for infrastructure, for providing income transfers to deserving families. So, ganun yun ang ano.
Okay, MPC. Question, Arian, ABS-CBN.
Sir, on another matter lang, sir. Sir, Budget Secretary Jokna earlier said that the Monetary Board may further cut interest rates before the year ends po. Sir, when do you think is the right time to resume interest rate cuts to aid growth po? And why, sir?
I thought he said that the interest rate cuts have ended already.
Ayun, sir. But tomorrow, sir, magmi-meet po kasi uli yung
Aha.
Monetary Board and he may make an announcement, sir. So,
Well, you are speculating.
sir, sabi niya po kasi,
Sabi
tomorrow
mo niya?
magmi-meet
Ah,
po
talaga?
yung Monetary Board. So, sir, when do you think is the right time to resume interest rate cuts to aid growth po?
I don't want to second guess Dr. Jokno, he's a good friend of mine, and I don't want to anticipate what he's going to do, because the central bank is an independent body, and it's not good for for another agency in government to to guess or to second guess what the central bank is going to do. So let's just wait then. Tomorrow na pala.
Tomorrow, sir.
Yeah. So walang not much Just sleep one more night and tomorrow you will find out.
Okay, sir. Sir, last na lang po. Yung sabi niyo, sir, meeting yung 14% na 2022 target would be a walk in the park for
Yeah.
next year
Yeah.
na. So, sir, ano pong ina-expect niyo na poverty incidence na by 2022 if mamimit po yung
Okay.
14 next year?
My estimate is I think it's going to go down to 11%. If you let poverty incidence, which is 16.6% now, drop by 2.23 percentage point a year, then we will hit, I think, something like 11 or even less than that
By 2022,
by
sir.
2022.
Okay, sir. Sir, do you see any roadblock na maghihinder po dito?
Roadblock. Well, there is such a thing as a base effect. Kasi ang base effect is the higher the number is, the easier for the number to go down, to go down. But then the lower the number becomes, then it's high. It's the further decreases in the number will be harder. Yun ang tinatawag na base effect. But so in effect, we should be, well, if we don't think about this base effect, if we just go straight line projection of poverty incidence, it should 6.6% minus 6.7 percentage points. How much is that, Jelly? I think that's 9% na lang, no? 9% ang poverty incidence. Just a straight line, calculation of how much reduction will be possible. So it's really going to be, it's going to be exceedingly satisfying for everybody, I think, if we're able to bring down poverty incidence even to 11%. So I think we will probably change our target for the midterm update of the PDP from 14% by 2022 we'll make it to 10 to 12% to be sure. To be sure, yeah. In other words, 10 to 12% possible poverty reduction by 2022. I mean, possible and also, you know, quite reasonable.
Okay, mag-last question na tayo kay Joseph. Joseph Morong.
I'm curious lang ako dun sa food bundle that you mentioned. You mentioned for lunch, no? Munggo at saka dilis. Is that every day?
Hindi po. Hindi naman po.
And how did we select yung kind of food in the food?
Hindi po PSA yung nag-select nun kasi hindi naman kami yung nutritionist. We have the Food and Nutrition Research Institute. Sila po yung parang, ito yung ginamit nila na example kung ano siya. But you can have substitutes.
So you're basing it on the protein
Yes, dapat
capacity.
ma-meet niya yung protein, yung calorie requirements.
Calorie
Oo,
requirements.
kasi hindi pwedeng kung ang question nga namin nun, paano kung di ka kumakain nun? Yun,
Paano
ganun.
kung may gout ka, ma'am?
Oh, yan. Kaya nga basic siya eh. So, kasi kapag lalagyan natin ng hindi lowest possible, walang pwede niyang sabihin, gusto niya ng lechon, gusto niya ng manok. So, tataas ng tataas yung price. So, ang sineset natin is the basic minimum. Now, with this amount, you can buy this food. And in this food that you eat will meet the minimum requirements for the person to be healthy.
Okay, okay.
Pero bawal sigarilyo at alak.
So
Okay,
protein and calories can
Yeah,
be
yeah,
can be
protein,
had,
lahat po,
can be
yeah.
obtained from other types. Yeah.
And other vitamins.
Okay, MPC, may tanong pa kayo? No? Okay, salamat
How about
Secretary.
sa CNN Philippines? Wala na.
Okay, thank you, Secretary.
Or shy ka lang siguro.
Secretary Pernian, thank you sa ating mga bisita. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa People's Television Network.